think we're back, so welcome.
Welcome. So tonight we are going to be talking about what is really happening in China, and, whenever other countries are doing certain things, we know we're next in line. So there you go.
Well, we talk a lot about tragedy and hope, Carol Quigley's book, who was Bill Clinton's mentor, and also about Heinz Kissinger and Brzezinski Brzezinski and the whole China experiment. And this is, so everything that's modeled and test marketed in China is ultimately what they obviously want to bring here. They'll test it there first. And so that's why this is pertinent and important. And you're going to see a lot of parallels and interesting things here in this video. This is by China Uncensored. We link the video down below. But let's start this is a quick little 10-minute video, and let's watch the video and then we can talk about it.
People in China disappear every day, but police aren't looking for them because they've been taken by the Chinese Communist Party. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Shelley Zhang, filling in for Chris Chappell. China is often compared to George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984. In the book, an oppressive Big Brother government tightly controls every aspect of society. Anyone who steps a toe out of line is taken to the Ministry of Love, which is as much about love as Burger King's Impossible Whopper is about meat. Once there, people are imprisoned and tortured until they learn to obey the party, heart, mind, and soul. And if they don't, well, the party can do without them. China has a similar method for keeping people in line. It's like someone at a Barnes & Noble accidentally placed 1984 in the How to Govern section, and the CCP just ran with it. For decades, the Chinese Communist Party has disappeared people it considers a threat, like in 1995 when the 6-year-old Panchen Lama was disappeared by the state. You can tell how tough the CCP is because they considered a 6-year-old a threat. Who are they going to disappear next? This sleepy kitty? Watch out, he's a menace. Actually, in the case of the Panchen Lama, the party was playing the long game, because the Panchen Lama picks the next Dalai Lama. So the party just disappeared one 6-year-old and picked their own Panchen Lama instead. A Panchen Lama who will resolutely endorse Comrade Xi Jinping as the core of the Communist Party, endorse socialism with Chinese characteristics, and continue the glorious tradition of loving the country. Yeah, that seems legit. What happened to the original Panchen Lama? According to the Chinese Communist Party, he went to college and has a stable job. And boy, does he love living on that farm upstate. The point is, the CCP is good at disappearing people, including their own. For years, the party had an internal disciplinary system called shuanggui that used interrogation mixed with torture to get Communist Party officials to confess to alleged crimes. Now, I'm sure that a lot of the party members who were shuangguied were actually corrupt, but it's impossible to know because shuanggui was also corrupt.
There's a table in front of me, and he smashed the table like that, and yelling, and I was like, I never have that treatment in my life. And I tell him about the law, and he say, we don't care about the law. Here is out of law.
Human Rights Watch said shuanggui detainees were deprived of sleep, food, and water for long periods of time, forced into stress positions, severely beaten, and put into solitary confinement. And surprise, surprise, they were also often cut off from family members or a lawyer. But at least they didn't unleash this sleepy kitty on them. He's the real threat. Now, shuanggui just targeted party members, but that doesn't mean regular Chinese citizens weren't subjected to the same kind of disappearances, torture, and interrogation. I'll talk about that a little later. But as you can imagine, the pattern of enforced disappearances brought the party some bad publicity, which is why in 2018 they decided to clean up their act by passing a law that made shuanggui look tame by comparison. I'll tell you more after the break. Welcome back. The Chinese Communist Party disappeared and tortured Communist Party members under the Shuanghui system for years. But in 2018, it decided to change its ways by passing the Big Brother Supervision Law. Okay, it's not really called that, but the fact you didn't know I was joking shows how Barnes & Noble really needs to take its book placement more seriously. It's actually called the Supervision Law, and it does give the Communist Party an awful lot of power. One of the things it created was a replacement to Shuanghui called liuzhi, which means retention in custody. It was supposed to be a kinder, gentler system than Shuanghui.
Yeah, so what you're seeing here, you're seeing a lot of, it's interesting, the references to 1984 and all the dystopian stuff that's occurring here in the States, in Australia, in the UK, all around the world, in China, and this is the boogeyman that's supposed to be the antithesis, to our thesis and all this stuff. And you'll also notice that Russia, who is now supposed to be this Orthodox Christian country, they just teamed up with China and they're doing military exercises together. And then in addition with this whole BRICS financial oil agreement, there's a lot of different things that are aligning here that on the surface appear to be in opposition, but in reality they're kind of joining hand in hand, which is what is very interesting about this entire global scam that's going on with everything regarding medical procedures and as well as global warming, global cooling, global weirding, and the gigantic push for quote-unquote renewable energy. And meanwhile, you have countries like China and India that are excluded from all of these talks and all of these restrictions. So they are creating this unbalanced dystopia with the ultimate end goal of, technocratic control in a communist, socialist, fascist amalgamation of the best of every system. And what you end up with is a big, old, gigantic, totalitarian mess. So we can, we linked the video down below. Y'all
the rest
can,
of the video.
Yeah, so y'all can finish watching the video, but she just is explaining how the military, police, and political system are just all about, obviously, restricting speech, vanishing people. It's very similar to whatever happened to the reporter that originally reported on Paul Pelosi. I mean, he has completely vanished. I mean, I know stuff like that doesn't happen here in America, and I know guys like Gary Webb, people sometimes when they start reporting on serious stuff, they just all of a sudden decide to kill themselves after,
of course, just randomly.
after they state, hey, look, I'm not suicidal, I have no desire to kill myself, to the point where it's so bad in America, you have to have guys like guys like James O'Keefe, when they report like crazy, insane, terrible stuff, I just want to put it out there, I'm happy, I don't want to kill myself and all that stuff, because we're so used to the Clinton crime family, the Clinton crime family, who's in with the Obama crime family, who's in with the Bush crime family, and it's irrelevant of whichever district or criminal, whichever Pepsi or Coke, whichever crime family's in charge. Hey, check out the newest omnibus bill, y'all. This $1.7 trillion boondoggle with like hundreds of billions of dollars of earmarks by Republicans. These were conservatives, and they're each earmarking $500 billion apiece, right? And just, we are in a financial bad way, to say it as nice as I can say it. It's a gigantic, there's a really bad financial tsunami occurring, and every single one of these criminals in the predator class of the district of criminals, they're like, oh, let's just spend 1.7 trillion more dollars, right? And hey, Are they helping out us? Are they helping people buy groceries
No,
and make mortgage
course not.
payments?
No.
No, there's stuff in their
Why do
pockets. They're paying their cousin. They're paying their uncle. And it's just bloated, wasted spending. And it all gets earmarked away. You know, if we don't do this omnibus, the government's going to shut down. And here, when you unpeel the thing, more than half of it's earmarked to like pet projects. And it's insane. And, you know, the inmates are running the asylum, and it doesn't matter if they're red or they're blue. They're all in together. It is the absolute uniparty. Just look at the omnibus bill. It will get passed. It will get Republican approval. They won't stop it. The spending will continue to skyrocket. And every now and then, oh, Biden, and Biden's economy, and Biden. And Biden didn't spend all this money.
No. Biden's been sleeping.
Trump didn't spend all the money. This spending started with Reagan and has went unabated since Reagan. And they can claim that there was some kind of surplus during Clinton. And that may or may have not have been the case because they messed with the balance sheet. But this drunken, like insane, just spending with no logic, ration, or reason, unapologetically, largely to outspend the Russians so we could defeat communism. But here we, first we needed to defeat Russia, right? But now we're getting ready to fight Russia. That's a problem. That's weird. So that didn't work too well. So we spent ourselves in oblivion to defeat Russia. But now that we're into oblivion, now we have to worry about Russia again. You know, it's the same players, and they recycle the boogeyman. But they never stop spending. They never shrink government. You know, what we need now that we need to spend $1.7 trillion more dollars is we need 87,000 new IRS agents to harass all of us.
That would be a good idea.
Harass all of us worker bees to generate more taxes and collect. You know, and it's
to help make us citizens, when we don't obey, disappear, like over in China.
Right,
just
and
disappear.
And what's going on in China? Oh, well, if you don't say the right words. Stanford just released, so one of our prestigious universities, one of our indoctrination camps, they just released a list of words that you're not allowed to say anymore. You know, the Newspeak, 1984 Newspeak and all that stuff. Yeah, there's this new list of words that
you can't say in the college?
No, that you can't say in general, because they've all been culturally misappropriated and all these different things, because there's no such thing as free speech, and you can't have an opinion, and you can't speak your mind. And if any words that you do wish to speak that haven't been redefined, they've also recently, just in the past week or two, redefined the definition of what a man and what a woman is literally in the dictionary. All right, and we're living in clown world. We are living in 1984, and when you see all this dystopian stuff, that's just a little bit further down the road in China, in UK, in Australia. It's like, yeah, this is what's coming here, and people are so very asleep to everything that's going on, or they've been so slowly indoctrinated and inculcated into it that they do not even realize all of the newspeak and all the definition changes and all of the cultural Marxism and all the political correctness, what they want to call woke, all this PC political correctness. And people have been warning about this political correctness for decades now. And this is all about cultural Marxism, corporate fascism, ultimately socialism, communism, and the deconstruction of Western society, capitalism et al., the middle class, the absolute implosion and systematic destruction of the middle class, or any of us, any freedom to think, any freedom to speak, any freedom to move freely, any freedom of just personhood, freedom of thought. It's all of this police state, thought crimes and thought police and pre-crime And all of this stuff that they kind of get to do willy-nilly in China right now, unaccosted, unabated, and it will absolutely, if we allow it, it will absolutely get like that here, probably in a larger
100%.
magnitude.
Yeah, probably.
Because people just get so rocked to sleep. They got their bread and circuses, they got their sports balls and their World Cups and all these different escape mechanisms, and they got their Holly weirdos making Ghostbusters 45 and all this stuff, and then into that bread and circuses we gotta inject all of this politically correct ridiculosity, and in normal logic, ration, and reason land, we need to compartmentalize. Well, I could really use all your entertainment, all your Hollyweird, just without all the political mumbo jumbo. But this is the infrastructure that brought us all of these different ills that have been injected into society, have all been, through these different clandestine, CIA programs and Tavistock and all these different things, where they invaded the culture, infected the culture to systematically destroy the culture, and now just like all these anti-war people, just like all these Democrats that used to be anti-war and all this stuff, what happened to them? Now they're like bomb Iran. Obama drone bombed way more people, and look at these Democrats now, like, oh yeah, World War III is great. We're doing it for the Ukraine, and this will be great, and we'll fund it, and we'll support it, and we'll just blow up people over there so we don't have to blow them up over here, And it's more the same stuff. It's the same tactics. It's the same talking points. And the faces change mostly just because, eventually these criminals eventually die and wear out eventually, once all the baby blood runs out, and the
takes forever, dude.
Once the adrenochrome doesn't work anymore, eventually they croak. But so they just have to swap, they have to change spots with
the other lizard.
But yeah, it is wild what's happening in China, and the way they're welding people. They're doing all of these social distancing things. They're welding people in apartments. There's fires, and then people can't get out, and the fire department can't get in, and these people are being cloistered in high-rises, welded in, and then there's flying drones that are barking orders at them. It is like dystopian sci-fi.
That's super sci-fi.
Like, just ultra 1984 to times 100, and they would absolutely love to do that here. They would love to do that here
in a heartbeat.
And
in a heartbeat.
It's unbelievable. It's wild. But this is the kind of stuff that's going on in China. This will absolutely get ramped up in Australia. Obviously, they'll roll this kind of stuff out in India. These are all like the petri dishes where they like to fine-tune the dystopian tyrannicalness first, before they bring it here, which America is the last vestige of any type of freedom that's left. And, and I would like to preserve whatever of that we can for our posterity, for our children, for their children. It's, if you don't, you obviously don't appreciate it.
Yeah. And
we can't, well, that's what the red, white, and blue and the military and all that stuff, and they fight for our freedoms, but we can't, that first off, that's all a con and a racket and a money machine anyway. And we have to, if we appreciate the freedoms that we've been blessed with, then we have to be willing to say something and stand up.
Exactly.
And stand up to the political correct, the PC, this woke culture, this critical race nonsense, and all of this like the guilt culture with all the verboten words that the propaganda system and the enlightened hierarchical, ivory towers as they dispensate on us what words we can say and what words we can't say, and then change the definitions in real time, change history in real time, tear down the statues, and
The
deconstruct every vestige of normalcy, every vestige of what has preserved the freedoms that are left, that are here. And it's fascinating to experience it in real time and to watch it happen quicker and quicker by the week. And then, and this is outside of all this medical tyranny and all of this World Health Organization, and that all of these countries that are supposedly left and right and boogeyman and non-boogeyman and good guys and allies and the Axis and all this stuff, they're all conforming and they're all complicit with all the pharmaceutical manufacturers and all the immunity and all the stuffs and all the state-sponsored medical procedures, and they're all in with all the banks and everything else. And we are going to be going live on Rumble.
Talk about the poke.
In 8 minutes.
8 minutes at 8 o'clock. So everybody that's on here, if you want to keep on hanging out with us, we're going to be changing subjects.
Yep. Yeah, so go down below if you haven't subscribed to our Rumble. We're going to be broadcasting live on Rumble.
The title of it is 4,800% increase in U.S. deaths. I'll bleep out the one word, but you get the poke. So anyway, so there you go. That's the title of the video. Go join us over there on Rumble. We will be live for like a couple minutes on YouTube, and then we're going to cut that stream off and jump right on in.
We're going to redirect everybody over to the Rumble. So that's what we're doing.
And that's the other reason why y'all should all live out in the country. Because of all this crazy Chinese stuff, it doesn't affect you as much when you're not in the flashpoints. And they can't, if you're not in a city in a high-rise, they can't weld you in.
Right, and this is why they want to do the central bank digital currency, because they want to get everybody.
Yeah.
So that if they can get the spending and give you a social credit score and just restrict what you're permitted and not permitted to do, and restrict your ability to make the purchases that you want to make or not make the purchases that you don't want to make, that is the total control. And that's how they can get the rest of us that didn't sign up to get stacked high and deep in some kind of concrete jungle Babylon. That's how they're going to go for the rest of us. And and it's the other reason they want to stack you high and deep in the concrete jungle. You can't grow your own food. You can't get access to anybody else's food. You're stuck, and you got this social credit score, and you're allowed to travel 15 sectors in your zone a year. And if you want to travel outside your sector, the UK is rolling out the carbon credit thing. They did it over the weekend. UK is rolling out the carbon credit thing, and this is all going to be about the restriction of your ability to move about freely. With either you'll get to do it, but you'll pay a strict penalty to do it, or they will just limit your travel, and they'll turn your Tesla off, your battery powered car. You can only go 6 blocks today, so tough poo-poo if you want to go.
Well, and that too, that's what they're doing with the carbon credits and everything with your, supposedly these, which they'll be rolling that out with everything, but they're saying with your iPhones and stuff, they want to start doing all that too,
Yeah, and it's just a total track and trace social credit score.
They were saying with Etsy too.
Yeah. Your carbon impact of your last purchase was
blah, blah, blah points,
50 pounds of, carbon emissions. Like anybody would even
Come on.
Like anybody would even know. It's a joke. And, and to think that they think that anybody believes that propaganda, and there are a small handful of people that are that insane, that clinically mentally deranged and that programmed and brainwashed that they, and those people get to shriek and those Karens.
It says that on the Chipotle app too. What in the world?
Yeah, that's just nuts. And
I would stop buying from there.
And all that is that's programming.
Let's go Rumble.
That's
a good one.
They are doing that to program you. Oh, that's right. Oh no, my burrito. Man, that really kind of hurt the environment.
Yeah.
Look at that cloud over there. That's because of the burrito I ate. Not even referring to the green cloud that the burrito creates when you're done. And then you have that whole other environmental impact that is much more damaging.
Ooh, do you get double like double points for that because they have to?
Oh yeah, you would get you get the carbon credits
and then the
on the front end
greenhouse
purchase,
gas.
and then you get greenhouse gases on the back end.
Ouch.
If you know what I'm saying, but on the back end. So, I mean, that's Chipotle. So really, if their app is working properly,
it should be double.
You get carbon credits on the front end,
2x.
greenhouse gases, the methane on the back end. And I mean, at least that's realistic.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's that's more plausible and believable. So.
That is way more. Yeah.
But go check out our website, TheTexasBoys.com.
Yep.
We have cool.
That's the only way
semi-humorous
how this stuff
t-shirts.
can stay up here in this because YouTube does not like to pay us for doing this stuff. So
YouTube hates us.
We got honey, candles, T-shirts, the food for us in the box,
Coffee teas,
locally
roasted, organic, good stuff.
We got CBD coffee. Go check it out. TheTexasBoys.com. But we are going to go ahead. We're going to end this stream, and then we're going to be starting up our stream over on Rumble and for a couple seconds on YouTube. But just go join us over there on Rumble. It's already up there right now. So